All right, everyone. Well, here we are. It is Wednesday morning. We're halfway through the week, and that was easy because, of course, we had the market holiday on Monday. And I'm sitting here just above my daily goal. Thank goodness. Yesterday was not so smooth. If you watched yesterday's recap, you saw that I started the day green like $200 and then immediately went into the red. And I spent the rest of the day working on stair stepping and digging myself out of the hole. Now, someone said, Ross, was that revenge trading? And here's how I'm going to distinguish the difference between revenge trading and just continuing to trade after you're in the red. Share size. When you start doubling, tripling, quadrupling your share size, you are revenge trading. You're in the red and you're taking more and more and more risk to try to recoup the loss and get back to green. When you go in the red and you keep trading, but you're trading more or less the same size and you're not going deeper red, you've set kind of your like stop price. Like if I go below this amount, I'm done. And you just kind of are chipping away. That's all right. What I'll say is that it takes a long time to get to the place where you can sit in the red and still be calm, cool, collected, and slowly dig yourself out without succumbing to that urge to take big size to try to recoup all those losses in just one quick trade. So yesterday, I was able to get myself out of the red and into the green, which preserved my green streak, which I'm not counting. I'm not counting the number of days that I've been consecutively green because I don't want to know that number, but I know it's been a while. It was all of July and all of August. And so September, first green day, barely yesterday. And today, once I got myself in the green and with a cushion, I was like, all right, let's hold on to it. Let's not overstay your welcome. Now, I have a little bit of a problem here. The problem is, as you know, I was on my traveling trading station all last week. I was up in Canada, which was fantastic, using my laptop. And when I got back here and I set it all up, this device that I use to capture my screen for the broadcast on YouTube and for the broadcast for my Warrior Pro members at Warrior Trading had broken. And I was like, well, I'm glad I checked this on Monday as I was doing my game plan for the week ahead, rather than on Tuesday morning when it's, time to start trading. So at that point I said, I've been using this laptop, and I'll grab it here. This is my F30 laptop. You guys know this laptop because you can hear it every time I make a video. The fan is sounds like a jet is flying overhead. It's very loud. It's a very fast computer. It's great for when I'm traveling, but when I'm here at home, gosh, that fan is loud. And it interrupts the video. You can hear it in the background. I don't like it. So I said, I've got this big Falcon desktop computer right here that has 16 monitor ports on the back. Maybe this is the time that I just bite the bullet and start using the desktop when I'm at home. And the laptop, I'll use it, but just maybe more when I'm traveling. And so I did that switch on Monday. I switched everything over. So all of this is now connected to this one desktop computer, and it's silent. It's quiet as can be, which is really, it's almost too quiet. I've been the last couple of days like, it's really quiet in here. Anyways, but there's a problem. And the problem is with this keyboard right here. So the issue here is that this is the keyboard that I've been using for this desktop computer, but I'm not using it. I haven't been using it for trading. I've just been using it for, YouTube videos, stuff like that. What I didn't realize is that the alignment of this keyboard is actually slightly different from what I'm used to. If you kind of laid these over each other, the keys are slightly different size. The up and down keys are really tiny here. They're bigger here. And so it seems so small, but changing keyboards has been really throwing me off this week, yesterday and again today. I'm pressing buttons for hotkeys and like nothing's happening because I'm pressing the wrong keys. So as a solution, I found, and some of you say, well, what are you even doing here? This is a teeny trackpad, but this has been how I like to work. And the reason I like this so much is because very quickly I can move my mouse to the level 2 window and move it around and then back to, entering the order. So I'm all condensed in this little area, which is of course how it is on my laptop. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about the F30 that I'd really been kind of like fed up with is that the trackpad is too big. So this trackpad, it actually goes all the way to here. So it goes all the way to like right here. It's a massive trackpad. And the problem with this trackpad is that when you're typing, where does your palm sit? On the corner of the goddamn trackpad. So your mouse is going flying all over the place. When you're going like this, you're actually touching in two places. You're touching with your palm and you're touching here. So your mouse is going like this. So I know you guys have seen when I'm using my drawing tool, a lot of times I use that drawing tool here on that on the laptop. I'm drawing like this. Oops, let's see. I'm drawing like this. Hello? I'm drawing like, where's my, what my drawing tool get turned off? Anyways, I'm drawing like this, and then with the trackpad, it's going like, it's like jumping around like that. Anyways, it gets very obnoxious. So, so for all those reasons, I've switched over to this, and what I ended up finding was a keyboard just like this that has a trackpad, but is full size with a number pad on the side. It's going to get here tomorrow. So I am hoping that that is better because this has been tricky. So today when I took my first trades, the keys that were not working well for me were my selling on the ask key, which is an important key. When a stock is squeezing and I want to take profit, I like to be able to sell on the ask. But of course I wasn't able to do that because I was pressing the wrong button. So let's start breaking down the trades from today. All right, so I'm sitting at $5,459.95 of profit. That's a nice green day here. And if we back this up, I'm going to go back to my very first trade of the day. So as always, I sit down, bright and early. Well, this morning I was up a little earlier, but I pull up my phone and I pull up the scans on my phone. So, oops, I just got logged out. I'll log back in so you can see. So when I pull up the scans on my phone, there's a couple of things that I'm always checking. And this is usually, around 6:30, 6:45, something like that. So I pull up the top gapper scan or the top gainer scan right here. And what I'm looking at is the top three gainers, the percentage, the floats, and the price. So yesterday when I did this, I saw the top gainers were all cheap stocks. And I was like, ugh, this is going to be tricky. Today, I pull it up and I saw we had WISA, W-I-S-A, and we had CNFR. Now, CNFR I traded yesterday and I actually lost on it. So when I saw it on the scans, I was like, I don't know about this. It's a day 2 of continuation, but day 1 wasn't even clean. So I sort of thought, no, I don't think I want to trade this. This is going to be too choppy. So I said, no, I'm not interested in that. WISA, WISA. I've traded this one before. This one's also choppy. Now, it did make a nice move here this morning, break a VWAP right there. But nonetheless, pre-market, sort of choppy, just not clean. So I was like, that's not going to work. Anyways, I get over here, I sit down, I'm pulling up my scans, getting my charts organized, and WINT hits my scanner. Hits the high day momentum scanner right down here. And it's on the running up scan. So as it's hitting the scan, I pull it up and I'm like, okay, what do I know about this stock? It's a 600,000 share float therapeutics company, biotech, pharma, therapeutics. Those all can be great. I don't see a headline on it, but it's popping up right here before 7 a.m. So as it popped up, I'm going to show you the 10-second chart because it's going to be easier for me to describe what I saw on the level 2 with a 10-second chart. So what I saw was all of a sudden the stock is at, 430, 460, 480, 550, 560, printing $6 on the ask. I'm like, holy smokes. So as it hits $6 right there, I pull up my level 2 window. So I pull up my level 2 window. It's not on Ford, it's on WINT. And I'm looking at the ask and I'm seeing 6 on the ask, but it was like 560 on the bid. So you've got a spread. 40-cent spread. So I was like, okay, I can't get in it yet, but I'm going to watch this. I'm watching this closely. And I get my order entry window, 2,500 shares, ready to go. And I'm putting the order up here at around $6. So whatever. So it was like $6, something like that. And so all I have to do is click that buy button. Now, what ends up happening on the next candle, it drops all the way to 456. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy that dip. So I bought the dip down here with 1,500 shares at 455, 460. It then goes sideways, and I was like, okay, that's surprising. I kind of thought we'd bounce. And all of a sudden here, it drops to 4. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I added another 1,500 shares with a stop at, it was actually after this candle right here. I added it 4, and I said, I'm going to put my stop at the low of this pullback. Because now I'm getting a little worried about a possible, full round trip. And I'm not seeing what the news is on this. But it is the right sector, it's the right float, it's the right price. So let's see if this curls back up. It bounces off of 420 and comes back up to 460. So of course now I'm in the green. And right here through 460, I'm like, all right, if we break this 460 pivot, I'm looking for a move back up to 480 and 5. We break that level, we squeeze up to 485. Then I said, if we break over 450, I'm looking for a squeeze back to 6. We pull back here, we break 450, and we go right to 6. And I was like, amazing. So through that squeeze, locked up $4,100 of profit. Now it was a little slow. It was a little touch and go at the beginning. And I was like, uh-oh, I'm red $1,500. No, sorry. I was red 750. I had 1,500 shares. I was red 50 cents a share. So I'm like, already first trade of the day going in the red and having to average down. That was okay because I started with 1,500 shares and 5,000 shares is my max position as I'm starting to build my cushion. But it wasn't what I intended. So I was a little bit, cautious. And, this thing ended up pushing up to 6 and then kind of pulling back here. And then going into the open, it curls back up, as you could see right here, and gives another stab, another attempt for that squeeze up to 6. But then it drops back down. So what was kind of interesting with this is that news came out at 8 a.m. Wait a second. The move started at 7 a.m. News came out at 8 a.m.? Did someone know the news before it came out? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe this just went up for a different reason. So why would it just randomly go up? Was there any news on this stock at all? So I pulled up BAM SEC, which I like to use for these looking at filings. I pull up WINT and I'm checking, okay, when was the last 10Q? It was on the 19th. So just really not that long ago. And then I'm looking down here. Oh, they just have a prospectus here. So what was this for? For a primary offering. Okay, so now this relates to an offering of 27 million shares here. So this is giving them the right to sell more shares. So I'm thinking, okay, so this is essentially a shelf registration, and there was actually 2 filed on the same day. So now I'm thinking, all right, they've got these registrations. So at that point, I'm like, I better look at the filings on this. And what I want to look at is the balance sheet. So I'm thinking, all right, let's look at the balance sheet on this. What's the current cash? $2 million. All right, these are in thousands. All right, so $2 million cash. What was it last year? 5.3 million. Okay, so it's declining. And then I'm thinking, what's the net loss or profit? It's a loss and it's substantial. So now I'm thinking they're not going to have enough money to keep running unless they raise capital. I mean, that's how it looks, just on sort of very cursory view. So I see all of that, and that's concerning. They've got, note 3, we are subject to the risks of companies in the biotech industry, including but not limited to the need for additional capital, risks of failure of preclinical and clinical trials, the need to obtain marketing approval and reimbursement for any drug product, So we've incurred net losses since inception. Net loss was 12 million and 1.8 respectively, So I'm reading all of this and I'm thinking this is a company that's probably going to do an offering pretty soon. So I thought, you know what? I'm happy to trade the beginning of this spike. I'm not sure where that volume came from. I jumped on it pretty quickly and we got some nice trades on it, and it did end up curling. And the last trade was actually this break of VWAP right here. But I said, I don't want to overstay my welcome on this. And I think that people are going to be looking for the offering on this. And it ended up, you could trade it both ways. There was opportunity to the long side. There was opportunity to the short side. I focus on trading to the long side because I have no income taxes in my retirement account when I trade to the long side. If I trade to the short side, I would pay income tax on those profits because you can't short in a retirement account. So I traded to the long side, locking up $4,100 in profit, tax-free, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I don't feel the need to overstay my welcome. So especially after yesterday. So locked in my profit on that. And then at that point, that was at 7, or early that I had my first trades, and then added just a little bit of profit at the open. And then I kind of thought I was done when FFIE out of nowhere squeezes and halts up. This was surprising. This one, again, I didn't see a clear catalyst for it, but it squeezes and halts up. It opens, resumes. There was a seller, about a kind of a hidden seller at 453. It dips down, then it rips back up here to 520, pulls back. I bought this dip right here. And then it goes into a halt right up here. And I took my profit there, made $1,200. I was like, that's good enough. Ends up going a little bit higher. I didn't hold during the halt. Coming back down just a little bit now. It's below volume weighted average price, but overall holding up pretty well. So got a trade on FFIE, and then I saw WISA curl up. You gave us this kind of squeeze at the well, kind of 1030 area. So nice little move there, but I just felt like, even though it's got a low float, it's very thickly traded and it's just not easy to trade. And when I say thickly traded, if I pull up the level 2 here on this WISA, you can see how there's a lot of buyers stacked, but there's a lot of sellers stacked as well. When you've got all those buyers and sellers stacked up, these really become pretty difficult to trade. They just start to move very slowly. So I find typically I do the best trading the front side of the move, basically right when news comes out or when the stock is first spiking. That's when we see the most exaggerated moves. And I want to trade that range as aggressively as I can. That's when the MACD is open before that first crossover, and then try to avoid overstaying my welcome. Now, granted, in a hot market when we've got some serious momentum, I'll be a little more aggressive trading the second and third pullbacks, but well, definitely the second pullback, but the third and fourth and fifth pullback and et cetera on the 5-minute chart. But yesterday was my closest call to a red day that I've had in 2 months, pretty much. I've had a couple other close calls, but that was the closest. I only just barely recovered and finished in the green. So that gave me a little bit of reason to be cautious this morning. And WINT, I jumped in it pretty quickly and I was unrealized negative before it rallied back up. So that by itself was a little bit of a close call, but it did end up working. And then, really, there just wasn't anything else that looked really good. ASST, it looked a lot like what was it? BOF or whatever it was from yesterday. It looked very similar. That one, just sort of the way it was thickly traded, but then kind of squeezed at the open. So ASST thickly traded, but then it squeezes at the open. But I just was like, I struggled with BOF yesterday. I was red on it, and ASST feels familiar and feels similar. I probably should be cautious and not trade it. Now, of course, if I see something that looks like WINT tomorrow, I might be a bit more aggressive since I did well in WINT today. But in QMM, this one actually looks sort of similar. Well, not right now. It looked more similar yesterday. This kind of moved higher. Now it's kind of actually pulled back too much, but it's the right price. Lower flow, that can be a good combination. TCBP, this one gave me a nice win yesterday. We got this squeeze right there. Riley, I got a trade on this yesterday going into the close. Normally wouldn't have been trading late in the day, but from 5 up to 6, $1 a share right there. That was enough to give me a little more profit, on the day yesterday. But overall, I feel like momentum is a little subdued. So let's look at the S&P 500. So what's going on here? Well, let's not forget, yesterday we had a pretty big pullback in the S&P 500. Sort of a big drop here. NVIDIA had a pretty big drop. There's DOJ wanting to do some investigation. So, this is what happens when companies get big. They start to become a target for that kind of stuff. And there it is. It's just the way it's going to be. So now they've got to go through that. That's going to, be a little bit of a fear element. So that's going to affect how some traders feel about holding positions long term. And anyways, it's just so we've got some stocks in the overall market that have been pulling back. Tesla, strong out of the gates today, moving higher, but the S&P, although it's bouncing a little bit, just still, kind of in a territory where we've got more room to fall. If we come back down to this 200 right down here. So we came down to the 200 last month or end of July, bounced back up. Now we're coming back down again. And, we'll see. Right now it's a little touch and go. So I think that's probably affecting sentiment a little bit in just, the opportunities that we're seeing on an intraday basis. I think traders are just being a little bit more cautious right now. And that's okay. I can be a little cautious too. So that's the most important thing, though, is adapting to the market that's right in front of you. So if the market is cooling off and is giving you that caution flag, then slow down, pump the brakes. Don't get aggressive right now. This isn't the time. So I'm trying to ease off the throttle a little bit, bring my share size down. I did overtrade yesterday in the sense that I just traded a lot and I didn't have a lot to show for it. So it really wasn't worth it. I should have just been more conservative from the beginning. But today I was a bit more cautious, and the results speak to that. So I'm sitting in a nice spot today, and I don't think I would be sitting as nicely as I am if I hadn't sort of made that adjustment and said, don't overstay your welcome, get green, and then lock it up and get out. So that was a strategy that paid off well today. And what I said to members who were just tuning in, maybe for the first time, Warrior Pro members or people that are on a trial, is that my process each day is the same. Step one is find a percentage gainer, something that's moving. Step two is analysis. So we're going to do our fundamental and technical analysis. So fundamental and technical. So fundamental is checking the news headlines. Technical is checking the charts. And then three, execute the trade based on, it's hard for me to write while I'm speaking. Execute the trade based on the strategy of buying that first pullback and then ride that momentum higher. So you know what? Yesterday, all last week, every single day for the last several years, more than a decade at this point, really, I sit down and have that same process. And the result varies from day to day because the variable is the market. What kind of stocks do we have today? Do we have really good setups, or is it a little bit colder? But when it's strong, that's when I'm going to be really aggressive. That's when I'm going to, double down. I'm going to take that risk. And I know some people think I should always trade with the same size every single day. And I would argue that in a colder market, there's less liquidity. And so because there's less liquidity, it's harder to take big positions without suffering a lot of slippage. So in a colder market, it's better to trade smaller positions so you can be light on your toes and jump in and jump out quickly. And then in a hot market, because there's more liquidity, you can get in and out with bigger orders with basically the same slippage you would have in a cold market. So with small size. So you can get in and out without a lot of slippage. And then that's a time to take that extra risk, at least for me, and start doing 15, 20,000 share positions, jumping in and out and locking up $5, $10, $15,000 winners. So, when it's hot, I'm going to be aggressive. When it's cold, I'm going to scale back. And by doing that, my goal is to have consistency overall, where during a cold market, I am still having green days. They're just smaller total profit. But in a hot market, that's when I pick up the speed. Now, what sometimes happens is during a hot market, I'll have a big loss because I'm taking a lot of risk. I'm being aggressive and then, oops, it goes the wrong way. So it's not impossible that could happen. It's happened before. It's also certainly possible during a cold market. I misjudge that things are picking up. I take too much risk and then catch a big loss, is kind of started to happen yesterday. But fortunately, I was able to recover. And one of the things I think is nice about my particular strategy is that because I'm focusing on the 10-second to 1-minute time frame, there are a lot of opportunities each day. Some traders who are trading futures or Forex or large caps, they might, in a hot market, only have 1 or 2 good opportunities a week. In a cold market, they may only have a few good opportunities each month. And then if you miss it, there's nothing you can do. So for me, if I go red and it's early, there's still a lot of time for me to recover because my strategy typically is going to show me 15, 20, 30 different opportunities each day. On a day where I've made my money, like today, I might not trade every opportunity that's in front of me. I say, you know what? You got to sort of get out while the going's good, take your profit and not overstay your welcome. Be grateful, right? But on a day where I feel like I need to hustle a little bit more and keep trading to try to recoup some losses, I'll stick around, I'll trade longer, and I'll try to capture, as many of those little opportunities as I can. And in fact, some days on a really hot market, I'll stay longer too, because I figure this is, if there was ever a day to put in an extra couple hours of trading, it would be a day when things are going crazy strong. But on kind of your average day, that's when I, trade aggressively from 7 a.m. to about 10 a.m., 11, and then I'm done for the day, and I don't overtrade in the afternoons. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. Those of you guys who have not already checked out our Labor Day sales, they are, I believe the coupon codes stop working tonight. They may have already stopped working. So if they've already stopped working, you are welcome to do a 2-week trial. There'll be a link pinned to the top of the comments and linked in the description. But if you want to use those coupon codes for our Labor Day sale, you could check that out as well. You can come over to warriortrading.com, come over to the dashboard, or visit the website. And if you come over to the join now. Yep, you'll see our Labor Day sales right here. So check these out. They're ending. I believe it is going to be today. If it wasn't last night, it'll be today. So check out those coupon codes and lock in some extra savings on your Warrior Starter or your Warrior Pro membership. And let's spend the fall studying, learning the strategy that I'm trading every single day, and hopefully enjoying some strong markets. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'll remind you, as always, that trading is risky and my results aren't typical. So manage your risk, take it slow. I'll see you guys back here bright and early tomorrow morning.